In 2017 and 2018, ECRF and Parkland College participated in a study developed by the Northeast Agriculture Research Foundation out of Melfort. We are one of 5 sites from across Saskatchewan participating in the study, and there is still 1 more year left to go before the study is finished. As a final report encompassing all sites won't be released for some time now, we have decided to give you our impression based on the results we have obtained over the past 2 years in Yorkton. Now let's go to Mike in the field so he can explain the trial setup.
I'm standing in front of the wheat profitability trial. Profitability of wheat has declined compared to oilseeds and pulses. However, wheat's importance in rotation remains. Different wheat classes tend to be managed the same, but farmers differ in how intensively they manage the crop. In this study, we are evaluating 3 levels of crop management across various classes of wheat. In the conventional management, the crop was seeded at a lower plant population of 200 seeds per meter squared, and no seed treatment or plant growth regulator or fungicide were applied. Only 75 pounds per acre of nitrogen and 25 pounds of P2O5 were applied. In the enhanced scenario, the seeding rate was increased to 300 seeds per meter squared, and foliar fungicide for fusarium head blight was applied. The fertility rate was increased to 98 pounds per acre of nitrogen and 33 pounds per acre of P2O5. In the intensive management scenario, seed was treated with Cruiser Max, and the seeding rate was increased to 360 seeds per meter squared. The plant growth regulator manipulator was applied at the 1 to 2 node stage, and foliar fungicide Acapella was applied at the flagleaf stage, and Carumba was applied at 10% anthesis for the control of fusarium head blight. Nitrogen rates were increased to 120 pounds per acre, and the rate of P2O5 was increased to 40 pounds per acre. Now, let's go have a look and see which scenario was most profitable.
Well, it was quite evident in season that intensifying management was producing a nicer looking crop in both years, and this was certainly evident once the data was analyzed. In these figures, you can see the relative yields and proteins between the wheat varieties from 2017 and 2018. The bars represent the yield and the black dots represent the grain protein. When averaged across management level, AC Andrew, represented by the yellow bars, was by far the highest yielding variety with the lowest protein in both years. This makes sense as AC Andrew was bred to produce a lot of starch for the ethanol market. To the right of Andrew are the CPRS varieties, Rowan and Riley. Yield did not significantly differ between these varieties in either year. However, Rowan had significantly higher protein in both years. To the left of Andrew are the CWRS wheat varieties. In 2017, yields did not significantly differ between CWRS varieties. However, Carberry was lower yielding in 2018, which would be expected based on variety data published in the seed guide. AAC Cameron produced the lowest grain protein in both years. When averaged across variety, each incremental increase in management significantly increased yield in both years, but protein levels were maximized with the enhanced management. When averaged across years, enhanced management increased yield by 11% and intensive management increased yield by 22% compared to the conventional management. In order to make an economic comparison between the levels of management, I've used the following cost assumptions. Seed, fertilizer, and chemical costs increase as management intensifies. So calculating the costs to production are fairly straightforward, but how do we determine the price for the commodity? The economic comparisons will change depending upon the price that can be secured for each variety. Price can even vary substantially within a variety class, if that variety is of special interest to a particular company. For example, P&H has offered a premium for Rowan over Riley in the past. To help producers pencil out the different scenarios, I've developed this table based on the 2017 and 18 data from Yorkton. The table presents the average yield and protein for each variety, which were achieved under conventional, enhanced, and intensive management. The assumed variable costs for each level of management are also presented in the table. Profit over variable costs equals the bushels per acre multiplied by the dollars per bushel minus the variable costs for that level of management. For example, Carberry yields 70.1 bushels per acre when conventionally managed and produced $82 per acre in profit if we assume the price of $4 per bushel. Not surprisingly, you can see profit rises as the price per bushel rises. If the value of the crop is low, i.e. $4 per bushel, increasing the level of management drastically reduces profit. The profit of A.C. Andrew was reduced to a lesser extent because it was very responsive to intensifying management. If we assume the value of the crop is high, for example $8 per bushel, enhancing management increased the profitability of 4 of the varieties. However, this has been assuming the price per bushel stays the same as management has been enhanced. This is not likely accurate. You can see from the table that protein has also been increasing with management for many of the varieties. If protein spreads are wide, it is not unreasonable to expect the price per bushel to be 50 cents higher as we move from conventional to enhanced management. In this case, we should be looking at diagonal comparisons instead of just looking down the table. For example, when assuming a price of $6 per bushel, Carberry delivered a profit of $223 per acre when conventionally managed. Assuming the price stays the same, enhanced management will result in a profit of only $205 per acre. In other words, enhanced management resulted in a loss of $18 per acre when assuming the price stays the same at $6 per bushel. However, this is not realistic, as enhanced management also increased protein by 1.1%. We're more likely to be receiving $6.50 per bushel with enhanced management. In this case, we are now receiving $242 per acre, which has increased profitability by $19 instead of an $18 loss. When making diagonal comparisons between the $6 and $6.50 marks, an argument for enhanced level of management can be made for all varieties but A.C. Andrew. You wouldn't have made a diagonal comparison for A.C. Andrew because you wouldn't be paid a premium on protein for an ethanol variety. If we make diagonal comparisons between conventional and intensive management, it would only further improve profitability for CDC Atmos. To make your own comparisons, just pause the video and study the table. I'd like to stress that this is only 2 site years from Yorkton, and the final results for the much larger study will not be available from the Northeast Agriculture Research Foundation until about 2020. The study is limited as there is confounding between multiple factors. The impact of each individual input cannot be isolated. To do so would simply make the trial unreasonably large. However, it is evident that not every input is pulling its weight, and applying everything has not been economical. Unfortunately, the impact of each input is going to change with environmental conditions. Personally, I like the enhanced level of management for the CWRS and CPRS varieties. It provided marginally greater economic returns when protein increases were considered, and it hedges against severe yield loss should heavy disease pressure become an issue. For A.C. Andrew, the ethanol variety, returns were highest for the intensive management once we got above $6.50 per bushel. However, I suspect a large part of the increase is coming from the added nitrogen. Inputs like manipulator would not have provided an economic benefit in this study as lodging was not an issue. It is not impossible, but it's unlikely that the double spray of fungicide provided a significant benefit. I suspect removing manipulator and acapella at flag from the intensive management would have improved the economic returns under the conditions of our study. In conclusion, intensifying management certainly gave us more crop, but not necessarily more profit.